So, I don't have the answers. I'm just, I'm trying to articulate this sense of dread. Like there's this sense of worry and concern about, that has to do with the job market and how rough it is out there. And it's not like there's a lot of opportunities. And I honestly, I feel like it's a real big irony that I wake up and I'm, it's like today I woke up and I felt like I took a Seroquel. I felt like I fucking drugged myself last night. But I didn't really take anything other than 3 trazodone, which, I hadn't, I think I had cut back on the trazodone a little bit, but I did take 3 of them, but I was kind of a little bit sluggish. And I woke up and I was feeling like, I was feeling this kind of ominous malaise. Like, what if Sean, I was thinking about what if Sean is right, and what if things do go downhill, and what if there's this massive revolution where we do have to completely recreate our system of government and our standard of living, and what would that mean, and how would that work? And honestly, being diabetic, I feel like, geez, sometimes, I mean, in a way, not that, I think it's amazing, sometimes life can change so quickly, and you realize in a weird way that it was for the best, in some way, shape, or form. Someday I'd like to talk about all these emotions and kind of deja vu moments that I've experienced in the past, where it's like I've experienced that form of tragedy, but I'm like, oh really, you have? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So I was thinking about, in relation to the job market, in relation to job stability, in relation to unemployment and things like that, I was thinking about my time at Allied, at my old job, my old garbage job. And I remembered going to a movie one night, and we went to see this French film, The Infant, L'Enfant, The Infant. I don't know if I'm saying that right in French, but before, when we arrived there was this tripped out, wigged out homeless guy, and he was asking for money. And he goes, "Do you guys have any money? You have any money? You have $1 you can spare?" And we just walked by, and I said, "No, I don't. I don't have anything." Sometimes I give homeless guys money. I mean, when I can help out and I've got a little extra, I like to help out. But at that time, my mood and my financial situation, or whatever. I just said, "I don't have any money." And he was like, "Motherfucker, give me a." He's like, "Motherfucker, give me $1. I just want $1. Fuck, I'm just talking about some money." And I thought, I don't know. It made me think about this guy in San Francisco who was dropped off, who arrived home in a taxi cab with his girlfriend, and this homeless guy asked for money and then shot him, and he was this up and coming artist in the city or something like that. And at that time, my brother lived in that area of San Francisco. And then when we came out of the theater, we went to see that movie, and the movie was depressing, and it was kind of dark, and it kind of fit right in with the darkness I was feeling working for this garbage company, and it was just all kind of doom and gloom and anxiety and tension, and it felt like my dark ages. It just felt like the dark ages. It felt like, it just really sucked royally. And I remember coming out and seeing that homeless guy there, and looking at him and going, like, what is he gonna do now? And he just looked at me, and he was talking to himself, and I like to say it was kind of an acknowledgement, like he apologized with his eyes or something, but that might be completely inaccurate. I have no idea. But he looked at it. He was by our car. He was fucking right by our car, and I was like, oh my god, what's he gonna do? And he was just kind of like mumbling, and he talked to himself, and he wandered off. He mumbled something, and he wandered off, and I go, that's the way life is. I mean, he could whip out a gun and shoot me, and that's that. I remember thinking that at the time. And then I remember we were driving back to Johnson's, and I was having an anxiety attack that I was constantly having when I worked for this garbage company. We were driving down El Camino, and it was just this massive anxiety attack, and I couldn't sleep that night. Tossed and turned, and I asked her for a trazodone, and the trazodone didn't do shit. The 50 milligram trazodone didn't do jack, and I was still awake, and I was tossing and turning, and all this anxiety, and finally, I think that was the night, finally I got to sleep, and I got like 45 minutes of sleep, or something like that, an hour of sleep. And in the dream, it was funny because I was dreaming about, being thankful that I fell asleep, and I was going, thank God I fell asleep, and there was this, it was like I was looking at myself, and I was chilling out with I had my shirt off, and I was hanging out at a New York condominium, and I was going, finally I fell asleep, this is great, and I was on the patio of this New York condominium smoking a cigarette. I was going, that's right, you fell asleep. Good. Just so, of course you fell asleep, kind of like that, like, don't be silly, of course you fell asleep. And, those were really the dark ages. I would never want to experience, and nor could I ever experience anything remotely similar. Unless it had to do with film, and I could see me feeling a lot of pressure regarding something I'm doing motion picture wise. I think that I know that I could handle, that I would want to handle, that I would do everything to handle, that I would make myself handle, and I would do my best to handle. I don't think it would be wise or accurate of me to say that if I felt a similar, it would be different though. It would be totally different. It would be the difference between having to, not being able to sleep and having insomnia because you realize every day you have to go to prison, and not being able to sleep and having insomnia because every day you realize you're responsible for hundreds of people and coordination and everything has to come together, and you have to make a really good picture, and it has to be fascinating and dynamic and interesting, and that would be a different form of stress. That would be a healthy stress, and you've grown, and it would be something that you could definitely handle now. Maybe you wouldn't be able to have handled that 10 years ago, but now you could. Just some interesting correlations there.